Hi, this is Erin Lincoln. Welcome back for another Make It Monday. Today I'm going to teach you how to only ink part of your stamps, like this little sentiment right here on this card that you see that goes from one side of the card to the other. Now when you see the actual stamp, you'll see that it doesn't look like that, and I had to manipulate it a little bit. I'm going to show you how to do this. Alright, let's take a look at that sentiment stamp. It's from Heart Print Sentiment. This is an older set, and if you can see, it's a two-lined sentiment there. And in my example, it was stretched out across one line. How do I do that? Just watch and see. This is just to show you what it looks like normally. It says, "Know in your heart, all things are possible." I'm going to take the double-ended banner die, the longer one, and craft cardstock. And if you watch and see, I'm only putting the top line on the ink pad to ink it up. Very gently, dabbing it just a little, making sure that there's no ink on that other line. If you suspect there is, a little baby wipe will take care of that. So I'm stamping it there on the die. And there's always ink left over, so you want to rub it off and make sure that stamp is clean right off the bat. Now I'm doing the exact same thing, but with the bottom line. You notice I'm not really like pouncing the ink pad on that, the stamp on that ink pad. I'm taking my time, just slowly, gently getting the ink on there, just to make sure I don't transfer any to that top line. There you go. Very simple. I'm going to actually do this a little later in the card making process with an image, so stay tuned. And right now we're just going to go ahead and put all the elements of our card together. This card is actually really quite detailed with all the little bits and pieces. There's a couple things to learn along the way, so stay tuned. This is Aqua Mist cardstock going on an A2 card base cut out of Ocean Tides. And now I'm putting some patterned paper from the Library Ledger patterned paper set on the inside. Now, when I was making this card, I wanted to make a little story. And the outside of the card, you know, to be honest, there's nothing real flashy about it. It's pretty standard. I wanted it to be all on the inside. So the sentiment starts on the outside. You start the little story of this little bird who's a little lovelorn. You flip it over and you see the little bird has found its true love. They're in a tree with a heart. And it matches up with the sentiment. It's perfect for, you know, maybe a girlfriend who is having a little love trouble. I have a little piece of pattern paper on the front here that matches the inside, just for just a tad bit of interest. This is faux ribbon, a new stamp set that I've recently gotten. Now these long border strips, this is how you make sure they're straight. You lay them out on your desk and then pick them up with your block. A little crooked there, we're going to try it again. But this is much easier than trying to straighten it out on your block. The stamp wants to naturally go in that straight line. And with dark chocolate ink, I just want to put a border, some interest on this pattern paper. I don't want the front too boring, I don't want it too flashy. It's a little bit of a balance. There we go. This is just going to get adhered on the front. And if you notice, all my dimensions of my paper are written on the back. So you can just pause it if you are interested and write those down to make yourself. Smoothing it out. Alright, now from my original card, you see that I have the tree from Little Bitty Bird. I'm going to put it on the inside there. There's the stamp set. Awesome, awesome stamp set. It's one of those that I love more than I use it. Now if you see, the tree's shorter than the tree on my card. We're going to use that selective inking technique again. I'm only inking up the trunk. There we go. I'm going to make this tree grow before our eyes. Now I'm going to ink the whole thing up. Because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, I am going to line it up. But you don't necessarily have to do it perfectly because the sentiment strip is going to cover that up. It's more of a, can I do this? And let's see if I can type of thing for me. Here we go. We're just going to color it in with a little bit of Copics. These are the Ripe Avocado Trio, and I am only using 2 of the 3. I think the second and third, as far as the darkness is concerned. First inking at those little leaves with the lighter one, and then just toward the branch where the leaf meets the branch, just giving it a little dab of darker color. It's very subtle. This is very simple coloring. This is kind of where I'm at with it all. Love Copics, and this is a good way to start. You know, you don't have to do anything real flashy, real detailed. It's amazing, just a little bit of application of Copic markers. It really makes your project come alive. And now I'm going back over with the lighter color, and I'm making that darker color blend in to the lighter color. Finishing it up. A lot of coloring. You didn't want to see me do all that, so we just did a little movie magic there. While we with the markers out, this is a little bird and die from Little Bitty Bird. I saw Miley or Heather do this during the release of the stamp set, where they inked it up with markers and they left the belly the natural state of the cardstock. So it looks like it's a two-tone bird with really no effort at all. This is one of the Scarlet Jewel colors in Copic. Using one, and I'm just adding an extra layer of ink with the same color just to give it a little extra shadow. I have a little heart stamp from Simple Valentine. Remember, this little birdie is lovelorn. Needs a little heart there on her breast. Now I need to get a doily die to go there in the corner of the front of my card. We're going to show you how to use these punch-out tools that come with the dies. They're very intricate, lots of little holes and such. Wouldn't have to want to do that all by hand. We have these metal shims that we are now selling in the store, and they go underneath all your clear cutting plates, and it just gives it a little extra pressure to a very intricate die like that doily. Now the die cut is sticking in my die. A little flexing helps pop it out. And this is the punch out tool. There's these little dimples of plastic that match up with the holes in the doily die cut. I'm just rubbing my finger along them. It's a nice massage to get them all out. Very easy. I'm going to cut off the edge for my card. This is Take Note. I'm using the dotted circle in our standard 1 3/4 inch size. Just need a little something for the front of that card, just a little bit of emphasis with the dark color. And that's why I chose that. I didn't have it there originally, and it needed something, so that was the perfect thing. Very subtle. Carrying it onto the front of my card. Here's my original sentiment strip. We're going to put adhesive all the way down the back. And you notice I reuse my cardstock. There's a little mark on the back from another project. No reason why you can't use it still. The first part goes on the front, and then I'm just going to bend it over the edge and take it to the back. And it's going to cover up where we extended our tree trunk. We're going to put our little birdie on the front, little lovelorn birdie. The die doesn't allow room for the legs of these little birdies from Little Bitty Bird, so we're going to go ahead and stamp those. You can use them either way. It's nice. They could be sitting with no legs, or you could stamp the bird with the legs. He can be standing. In this case, she's standing. Notice I have 2 stamps on either side of a block. Do this sometimes, just a good way to keep things together, or if you have limited blocks. The little birdie's going up on pop dots. And she was wondering on the front where her Romeo was. He can be found on the back. telling a little story with this card. The sentiment says, know in your heart that all things are possible. So imagine giving this to a girlfriend who might be having relationship issues, or just taking it another direction. Imagine you have a family member who maybe are struggling with infertility. Put a second bird on the front, a third bird on the inside. If, they had a successful fertility run or are pregnant finally, you're very happy for them. The sentiment works as well. We're using a little heart from Love Lives Here. It's actually the negative piece, but those hearts work really well for lots of things. Save the house for something else. There we go. The sentiment from the outside to the inside, and room for a note. It's a nice little surprise. So again, try this technique at home. Ink up part of your stamp, whether a sentiment or an image, and make it work for you in a different configuration. Or additionally, tell a little story with your stamps from one side to the other. It's a nice little surprise. Okay, it was wonderful spending the morning with you. I hope you learned something, and we'll catch you again next Monday with another Make It Monday video. Take care.